Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Inglorious Gun, and if you found this video today, we're just going to be discussing general aim advice and or tips. This is really just kind of my experience playing Marvel Rivals as of late on controller predominantly, which is something I typically don't do. I am very much a mouse and keyboard player. If I'm playing Black Ops 6, for example, or another FPS, that is definitely my preferred method of control. I feel like the sensitivity of it's just more attuned, and I've definitely developed more muscle memory around that. But given controller, I've always kind of struggled, at least at different points in my life. And, I've been playing enough shooters as of late and have a better understanding of what I'm actually trying to achieve when I'm pulling the right trigger in any kind of game. And as such, I think that has general application across pretty much any game that you are going to be pointing and clicking shit at while people are moving on the other side of the screen. So with all that said, I really just want to focus on one kind of core mechanic that I think is definitely the most utilized in the sense of Marvel Rivals, especially given the movement kits and how different each character can really navigate. Spider-Man's like a really clear-cut example. Any web slingers, their ability to shift elevation and momentum at a given time, or even Moon Knight, for example, it is definitely a lot to adjust to. But with controller, there is a little bit of leeway. They definitely have, I wouldn't say homing, but there is a generous amount of aim assist as long as you are in the quadrant or box vicinity of a certain hitbox, right? But with that said, this gameplay is nothing fantastic, but what you will see is me consistently at least doing damage, or, hitting shots that I want to, without really thinking about it, not letting it be this core thing that I'm focusing on, which I think when you are trying to improve your aim, it's really easy to get into a headspace where every micro adjustment that you're making should be conducive to improving, which I think is healthy to be analytical in that sense, but it also leads to a sense of over-analysis. And I think a big indicator of this is like sensitivity and how people change their dead zones or their DPI on a mouse, for instance. A lot of aim guides will give you specific sensitivities or players, and people like to mimic that, seeing the capacity around that sensitivity. And there can be argued, these kind of like inconsequential points about the benefits of such, right? Higher sensitivity means you can rotate your character more, you can do like a turnaround on people. Lower sensitivity, you can kind of focus more on making smaller adjustments without having to worry about fucking with your thumbstick too much. All of that is kind of conjecture in my eyes. What you really should be focusing on is not moving your mouse or reticle too much at all. I think a good starting point, keeping it center mass, if you know where characters generally are going to be. Let's start, for instance, like on a ground level, as we see here. Okay, so like we've adjusted to the vertical kind of orientation of where they're at the top of these stairs. And if you look, I am just moving my character left and right, back and forward, kind of in congruence with where I believe these people are going to move. And that correlates with leading your shot and tracking. Those are individual skills, but I think just understanding that, hey, the center of my screen, this reticle, if Magneto is going to walk in front of it, now I can kind of just focus on pulling the trigger at the right instance that he will be in front of my screen, right? And if he's stationary, that's even easier. But ultimately, I want to not really adjust vertically at all if I don't have to. Granted, there will be instances in this, right, where you're going to see like an Iron Man or characters that definitely have like an elevation advantage, right? But realistically, the adjustment is just to get to that level, and then I'm rolling right back into using strafe aiming. And I think it's easier said than done. It's something principle that you should just work on. I think aiming as a fundamental across all these types of games, regardless of what you play, this has kind of always stood the test of time. If you go back to Quake or Unreal Tournament, CSGO, literally any fucking shooter ever, this will kind of always carry you to some degree. And then, once you start developing it and you get more comfortable with that, you can learn to adjust your aim in more comfortable and specific ways. And that kind of leads into hyper specificity of like, oh, this is a flick shot, aiming with your elbow or your wrist. These are a lot of mouse oriented things, right? But, you're still aiming at the end of the day on controller. And, I've seen some people pull off some kind of like biblically impressive shit, right? Like Titanfall 2 players on controller have this hyper accuracy that I think mouse and keyboard players would fucking blush at, right? And that's not even speaking for the mouse and keyboard players on that game, but if you look at that gameplay, a lot of what I'm talking about there definitely has a transference. So another thing I really want to discuss now that we had this out of the way is just more oriented around tilt and giving yourself patience while you're trying to actively improve the skill, right? This is in accordance with any kind of skill development, and it's very easy to get frustrated. Trust me, I have ADHD, and hyperfixation is great, but also I have this inability to kind of stick to certain things and refine them the way I would like to. That doesn't lead to like a very conducive kind of building through repetition, right? So I would say just like, if you are having bad games and you are spending more time being frustrated than you are actually, feeling enjoyment, or you're getting that dopamine hit of getting frags, or feel like you're contributing to your team, it's okay to take a step back. I feel like with Marvel Rivals, in the case of just how good the game feels, especially if you're just playing quick play, I would highly recommend starting in there and not jumping into ranked. Even losing in this game is relatively fun. Nobody wants to waste their time, right? And I think if you jump into comp, especially given the time commitment and how long those games can run and how reliant they are on everyone's individual performance, you will absolutely just ruin yourself and then start connotating your aim in that negative headspace. So in truth, just like, don't take it too seriously. Try to have fun and just keep these things in mind, and you will start to see incremental improvement. Don't expect to be some kind of fucking aim god in a day. If you want to do these external things like aim labs and, going in the practice mode and doing these additional trials, you can. But in general, just keeping a level head and not adjusting your aim more than you have to will take you very far. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you learned something, and you guys have a great day.